I'm very pleased today that we are taking up this bill. It's another great day for the Great Lakes. Today we renew and expand upon one of, if not the most effective federal environmental cleanup program ever, the Great Lakes Legacy Act. All of us have heard about Superfund and all the tremendous cost overruns of that. When we wrote this original act some years ago, we made sure that we tried to keep it out of the courts and make it a very efficient program, and that's exactly what has happened. The Great Lakes, we all know, comprise the largest source of fresh water in the world. 20% of the Earth's total and 95% of the surface fresh water in the United States. The Great Lakes also provide drinking water, transportation, and recreation to millions of people. Approximately 30 million people drink the water of the Great Lakes in the United States and Canada. However, the Great Lakes are endangered by contaminants from years of industrial pollution that have settled into the sediments of the tributaries, the rivers and streams that flow into the lakes. These pollutants degrade the health of both humans and wildlife, and they disrupt the beneficial uses of the lakes. The longer we take to clean up these areas, the greater the likelihood that the sediment will be transported into the open waters of the Great Lakes, where cleanup is virtually impossible. To address this problem, I introduced the original Great Lakes Legacy Act in the 107th Congress. With bipartisan support, Congress passed it and the President signed this bill in 2002. The Great Lakes Legacy Act authorizes the EPA to clean up contaminated sediments in designated areas of concern in the Great Lakes. These areas of concern are designated by the EPA and are defined as any ecologically degraded geographic area that requires remediation. Currently, there are 43 areas of concern throughout the Great Lakes, and 31 of those are either wholly or partially located within U.S. waters. The Great Lakes Legacy Act has made tremendous progress in cleaning up contaminated areas. Of the 31 areas of concern in U.S. waters, 4 remediation projects have been completed, 1 project is underway, and 6 more are currently being monitored and evaluated. Since 2004, the EPA estimates that almost 1 million cubic yards of contaminated sediments have been removed from our Great Lakes tributaries. These sediments are saturated with toxic substances such as mercury, arsenic, chromium, cadmium, polychlorinates, better known as PCBs, and lead. However, more cleanup work remains. The U.S. Policy Committee for the Great Lakes has identified 75 remaining contaminated sites. The Great Lakes Legacy Act expires in just a few days, roughly 2 weeks. In order to ensure this vital cleanup continues, Congressman Jim Oberstar and I introduced this bill. The bill has 45 bipartisan co-sponsors and passed the Transportation Infrastructure Committee by voice vote. In order to speed up efforts, this bill triples the authorized funding levels from $50 million a year to $150 million per year. If fully appropriated, this has the potential to delist all of the U.S. areas of concern within the next decade. These funds will continue to be leveraged with a 35% non-federal cost share from locals, businesses, environmental groups, and so forth. The bill also makes a limited number of changes to the original Legacy Act that were jointly recommended.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Improved the bill. Could I have 30 seconds?
Yes, sir. I yield an additional 30 seconds.
The gentleman from Michigan is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
The toxic pollution from our industrial past have plagued the Great Lakes region for far too long. By voting for the Great Lakes Legacy Act reauthorization, we can ensure that the critical cleanup efforts in the Great Lakes continue. Closing, I want to thank Chairman Oberstar, Chairwoman Johnson, Ranking Member Micah, and Ranking Member Bozeman for all of their great work on this bill and their dedication to preserving our greatest freshwater resource. I also want to thank Ryan Seeger, Ben Webster, John Anderson, and Sean Pello on these various staffs, and also Ben Gilo on my staff. It's taken a lot of hard work, but it's a great bill. I'm proud to present it, and I ask all of my colleagues to join me in supporting